5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the MCTV Weekly News Update. I'm Jordan Carter.
And I'm Jen Keaton. We've got a lot in store for you tonight, so let's jump right into today's top story. This past Sunday, Cuba's current president, Raul Castro, announced that he will be stepping down as president in 2018 after serving only 2 terms. He is the first in the lineage of Castros to put a date on the end of his presidency and the Castro era. He has named Diaz-Canel as his top lieutenant and first in line of succession. Castro also says he hopes to establish 2-term limits and age caps for political offices, including the presidency. An astonishing notion for a nation led by Castro and his older brother Fidel since the revolution in 1959. In his speech, Castro said that there will be other changes made to the Constitution, some so dramatic that they will have to be ratified by the Cubans. Abandoning socialism was not one of those changes. Raul said that, quote, "I was not chosen to be president to restore capitalism to Cuba. I was elected to defend, maintain, and continue to perfect socialism, not destroy it." So that's interesting, an end to the Castro era.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll make a big splash in 2018, I'm sure.
I think so too.
We'll see what happens.
This isn't the only nation making headlines this week because of a change in leadership rules. In South Korea, history has been made with the swearing in of the country's first female president, Park Geun-hye. Park was elected last December with a 52% majority for all the new president's links to the past. It's what Park does next that will define her leadership.
Moving to more local stories, this past weekend, 19 teenagers were arrested at Ford City Mall outside of Chicago for causing a large disturbance. The mob was comprised of kids ranging from ages 13 to 18. Most of the teenagers arrested were charged with misdemeanor mob action, but one was charged with battery of a mall security officer. The teens started causing chaos inside of the mall and then made their way into the parking lot and started climbing on top of cars. It is not reported what provoked this crazy behavior. There was an appearance from the boy band Mindless Behavior at Ford City Mall 45 minutes before the riot broke out. But according to the senior general manager of the mall, John Sarama, the incident was not related to the presence of the boy band. Wow, that's crazy. I can't imagine seeing almost 20 kids jumping around like that.
It's definitely ludicrous. Sticking locally, it's time to check in with Peter Malavenda with this week's Highs and Lows report.
Thanks, Jordan. There's a lot going on in the weather world this week, so let's begin with the question everyone has been asking. When is the cold going to end? March is right around the corner, but a recent report shows it will be at least a few more weeks before the northern half of the country thaws out. Recent blizzards have bombarded the Midwest and East Coast this month, and it's all due to a phenomenon called blocking. When high-pressure systems containing warm air hover over the Arctic, cold air is forced down from Canada. This slows the speed of weather systems, causing massive snow accumulation and freezing temperatures. The current storm track is expected to stay put for the first 2 weeks of March, so don't put away those winter jackets just yet. How are the effects of this weather roadblock going to shape your plans next week? Let's take a look at your local forecast. For tonight, expect a windswept rain. Temperatures will remain in the low 30s, so watch out for slick spots if you're driving. Wednesday brings more of the same. Skies will remain cloudy with on and off rain and snow showers through midday. Expect a high of 43 degrees and strong easterly wind at 20 miles per hour. Conditions begin to improve Thursday with precipitation ending in the evening. Your silver lining comes this weekend as partly to mostly sunny skies return on Friday, lasting through the beginning of next week. Winds will remain light and temperatures will stay in the low 40s. Well, that's all I have for you in the weather world today. With your weekly highs and lows report, I'm Peter Malavenda.
This next story is out of this world, literally. The Inspiration Mars Foundation, a nonprofit organization, will be holding a press conference next week to discuss plans for a trip to and from Mars. The trip, called Mission for America, is proposed for January 2018 and is, quote, committed to accelerating America's human exploration of space as a critical catalyst for future growth. The first private space traveler, Dennis Tito, is the leader of the effort and is planning on getting to Mars and back in 501 days. It is not clear yet where Tito will be getting the funds or tools to make the journey, but the press conference this Wednesday at the National Press Club should answer more questions about the proposed visit. You interested in that?
Definitely. 501 days?
I know, spending over a year in space, that's pretty brave.
Definitely. Getting back to Earth, new information is emerging about a shooting in the southeast that killed 4 people and injured 5 others. 26-year-old Amar Harris is accused of firing shots into a gray Maserati, setting off a chain reaction that caused a taxi to explode in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. Police Captain Chris Jones says that Harris has been identified as a suspect and authorities are now trying to find his location. The man was reportedly driving a black Range Rover at the time of the incident. He was reportedly firing his gun into the sports car, murdering the aspiring rapper inside and injuring the passenger. SWAT teams did not find Harris when they went to his home a few blocks from the crime scene. The homicide occurred as a result of an argument between the rapper and the suspect at a resort near the Strip. Harris has been arrested before for reckless driving, sexual assault, and kidnapping. He is also known under the name Amar Asim Farak Harris. Authorities will continue searching for the suspect, and they advise everyone to consider the man armed and dangerous.
Speaking of armed and dangerous, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is urging Syrian opposition to attend a planned meeting in Rome this week. Kerry called Syrian opposition leaders today to ask them not to boycott the meeting. The opposition has said it would not show up because the international community isn't doing enough to stop the violence. A Scud missile attack killed at least a dozen people there Friday. State Department officials denounced the attack Monday.
We absolutely condemn the escalation of violence in Aleppo. There have been some horrific Scud missile attacks, particularly in the eastern district of that city, that have killed dozens of people. This is a clear sign of the regime's ongoing disregard for human life.
The Rome meeting is the highlight of Kerry's 11-day, 9-nation tour of Europe and the Mideast.
The Mideast is going through some rough times right now, but Egypt may have it worse. The Harlem Shake epidemic has spread. The new YouTube craze, the Harlem Shake, spanned all the way to Egypt, getting 4 paramedical students arrested. This past Saturday, the Egyptian police arrested the students who filmed themselves dancing in their underwear doing the Harlem Shake. Due to the Egyptian culture and strict public indecency laws, a public official described the video as, quote, a scandalous act, and came as shock to residents of a middle-class Cairo neighborhood. This dance craze began in Australia by a group of teenagers who uploaded the 31-second clip onto YouTube earlier this month. The original video has now been viewed almost 16 million times. The parodies of the original are continually growing. Some other Egyptian Harlem Shake videos include one filmed in front of the pyramids with an Egyptian wearing white underwear and a bow tie, and another man dancing while riding a camel. Even the strict laws in Egypt won't stop the people from continuing this YouTube dance craze from spreading.
Wow, can you imagine getting arrested because of the Harlem Shake?
I mean, you can have a little fun here and there. That's kind of out of hand. I don't know.
Yep, this craze is getting out of control. Well, if you are looking for a place to watch the most recent waves of uploaded Harlem Shake videos, you may not have to travel too far. Forget the coffee shop. Your car could be your next favorite Wi-Fi hotspot. General Motors and AT&T are teaming up to add 4G wireless service to several vehicles in the U.S. and Canada. Starting next year, the system will be available on 2015 model Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac cars and trucks. GM says the feature will allow you to ditch the DVDs and stream videos to the back seat. It will also boost GM's OnStar navigation system, allowing real-time traffic updates. No word on how much the service will cost.
Even better news for you car owners out there. We could see some relief from skyrocketing gas prices soon. The publisher of the Lamberg survey says the reasons behind the spike are gone. Right now, the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded is $3.80. That's up nearly 55 cents over 9 weeks. Trill Lumberg says that crude oil prices are now going down, and wholesale prices are also starting to tumble. She says that doesn't mean that prices couldn't get higher, but it has failed to hold. The current average is about a dime over the average for this time last year. The Lumberg survey checks prices at the thousands of gas stations across the country.
Well, I guess that's good. I haven't been paying attention to gas prices too much being at school, so.
Yeah, me either. I guess it's not really a problem right now.
Good for us, I guess.
Yeah.
A less exciting story tonight comes from the West Coast. A California woman has gone missing in Peru. Jamie Neal and her boyfriend were in the country for a biking adventure. Neal's sister, Stacy Fingers, is concerned that her sister may not be safe.
I mean, she's my sister. I'm just not going to listen to anybody until she calls me. I haven't seen a video of her since January 25th. So to me, anything could have happened since then, you know.
Sisters have been working with the embassy in Peru. They hope by taking her story public, someone with information about the case will speak out.
In other international news, Russia's Federal Drug Control Service has made a major bust. Agents seized 187 kilograms of Afghan heroin, hidden in a shipment of radishes. The drugs were packed in green bags to blend in with the vegetables. The street value was estimated around $180 million. With an increase in illegal drug transportation all over the world, this is an innovative thinking, sure going to grow into much more creative measures as the demand for these substances grows well.
As the drug race continues on, there's another race that has the world talking. Fojia Singh, the world's oldest long-distance marathon runner, ran his last race Sunday in Hong Kong, just ahead of his 102nd birthday. He says, Christina Mutchler has this report.
Meet Fojia Singh, not your average great-great-grandfather. Singh has just hung up his running shoes after training hard as a competitive long-distance runner. Fojia took up the sport just over a decade ago, and since then, he's completed 9 successful marathons. He says the secret is not his diet or even his training routine, but simply his love for the sport.
It's because of the happiness I get out of it. If something makes you happy, you'll do it well.
Fojia's fans have nicknamed him the Turban Tornado, and a biography about him carries the same name. His achievements have inspired people around the world, but for him, it was a personal tragedy, the untimely death of his son, that led him to take up the sport.
Because after I suffered a tragic incident in my life, a traumatic experience, I took up running as a new focus in life, and then marathon running developed from there.
And he's broken some impressive records along the way. In 2011, he became the oldest person on record to complete a marathon at age 100, according to the officials of the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. His coach, Harminder Singh, has been working with him for the past 13 years.
He's an absolute pleasure, and I wish that he's my best student, I would say, which sounds ironic, he's twice my age.
While he'll continue to run for pleasure, Fojia's decided it's time to retire from competitive running. To much fanfare, he's come to Hong Kong to run his final race, a 10-kilometer event. There is a moment of concern when Fojia slips, but he recovers well and continues running. CNN Español's Diego Laje is also running the race and captures a few seconds alongside Fojia in the final stretch of the race.
I'm proud to say I've done all the way with Mr. Singh, the world's oldest marathon runner, but by no means the weakest.
Fojia crosses the finish line in just over 1 hour and 32 minutes. Despite the fall, he completes it around 4 minutes faster than when he ran the race last year. His supporters are thrilled. And when asked how he did it, Fojia reminds us of that secret weapon he uses.
5 or 6 kilometers into the race, I really decided to go for it. I had lots of power today because I was very happy. The strength I had comes from happiness within.
Oh, great! Christina Mutchler, CNN.
102. Imagine he was 18. It's my age.
He must have been incredible. Good for him.
Good for him, yeah. There was a heated race for Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards. Marta Shade tells us which film came out on top last night in today's Hollywood Minute.
On Hollywood's biggest night, even first-time Oscar host Seth MacFarlane seemed a bit starstruck.
You guys have made some beautiful, some inspiring movies. I made Ted.
To present the biggest award of the night, First Lady Michelle Obama made a live appearance from the White House.
And the Oscar goes to Argo.
The film, set during the Iranian hostage crisis, was also recognized for editing and adapted screenplay.
I thank everyone in the movie, on the movie, worked on the movie, did anything with this movie gets thanked. I want to thank Canada. I want to thank our friends in Iran.
Les Miserables also won 3 Oscars, including Best Supporting Actress Anne Hathaway.
It came true.
Adele performed Skyfall, which won for Best Song. Life of Pi took home 4 Oscars, the most of any film, including Best Director for Ang Lee.
Thank you, movie god.
Daniel Day-Lewis became the first person to win 3 times in the leading actor category, this year for Lincoln.
Since we got married 16 years ago, my wife Rebecca has lived with some very strange men.
Twitter lit up after Jennifer Lawrence tripped over her dress on her way to accept the award for Best Actress in Silver Linings Playbook.
You guys are just standing up because you feel bad that I fell, and that's really embarrassing, but thank you.
Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained took home 2 Oscars for original screenplay and supporting actor Christoph Waltz. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Martha Shade.
Did you watch the Oscars, Jordan?
I actually didn't, but I wish I did.
I know, I missed it too. Seemed like an exciting night, though. And this story focuses on America's future and the world's future, our children. New guidelines out this week can help parents make a better decision on how to treat their babies and toddlers with ear infections. With more on this story, here's Holly Furfer with today's Health Minute.
Pediatricians estimate that ear infections are one of the most common reasons they see young children. Although earaches take on different forms, the most common is called otitis media, which means an infection in the middle ear. Up until now, there have always been questions on whether to treat a young child's ear pain with antibiotics. Many parents and some doctors shy away from giving a baby these medications because of side effects such as diarrhea and resistant bacteria. Now, a revised version of earache guidelines has been published in this week's Journal of Pediatrics, providing a choice between antibiotics or observation if the ear infection is only on one side and the child has only mild symptoms. However, if a baby between the ages of 6 months and 2 years has a temperature of 102 and/or acute pain in the ear, that little one should be given antibiotics. Since the last revision of the guidelines back in 2004, child health experts have found this method to be the most effective in treating little ones with common earaches with more severe symptoms. For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.
The times are changing. An article in the New York Times Tuesday morning announced a brief in Washington that will be receiving signatures from dozens of key Republicans in support of gay marriage. These politicians include top advisors to former President Bush, top members of the Congress, and 4 governors. Arguing that gay citizens have a constitutional right to marriage, this position is challenging a position to put into place not only by many state governments, but it also opposes the position held by House Leader John Boehner. This legal brief is being sent to the Supreme Court to support a case that is seeking to strike down Proposition 8. Prop 8 is well known in the gay community for banning gay marriage in California, and other states has legislation that directly mirrors this proposition. One of the most powerful supporters this case has is Theodore Olson. He argues that same-sex marriage endorses family values by giving children the chance to grow up in a 2-parent home, and it advances conservative values of, quote, limited government and maximizing individual freedom. The 75 Republican signatures on this brief are said to help influence the conservative justices in making their final decision. Some of the support even comes from Republicans who are speaking out for the first time, as well as who have changed their stance on the issue. Republicans are not traditionally known for backing same-sex marriage, but as more and more of the younger generation reach voting age, a shift is being seen. In a recent poll, about 70% of the voters under 30 support gay marriage. So what do you think about gay marriage?
I mean, I think it's history in the making right now. Seeing bipartisan support on this issue, that's a big deal.
President Obama backs it as well, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like that's all we have for you tonight. Be sure to stop in next week. Until then, I'm Jen Keene.
And I'm Jordan Carter. Thanks for watching this weekly news update.